everybody, Rob Nelson here. Today we are talking about this thing, the Moza Air 2. And we never do reviews, but here are some of my thoughts on this gimbal.
Let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times.
Okay, balancing. Balancing is pretty easy with the Moza Air 2, and there are a couple of features that they have to help you with it. First, they've very cleverly added this locking switch to stop the camera rolling when setting it up. That allows you to balance the pan and tilt. Another cool thing they've done is put ruler markings on all the arms. This allows you to get the exact measurements once it's balanced, which makes it faster to set up in the future. They also have a neat feature with the base plate, which allows for double connection. It basically just allows for faster setups. You can lock the base plate in place on the gimbal and then slide in a Manfrotto plate into that attachment and lock that. If you need to change a battery or take the camera off for some reason, you can release the camera with the two buttons and then slide it back in. It locks back into the same place it originally was. It's pretty neat. Weight capacity. This gimbal has an impressive payload of 4.2 kilograms, that's 9 pounds, while it only weighs 1.6 kilograms. Now, we shot this using the Canon 5D Mark IV and the Canon 1DX Mark II, so we didn't get to test its full capacity, but what was really cool is that while shooting with different zoom lenses like the 24-70 f2.8 and the 24-105 f4, the gimbal was able to remain balanced when the zoom was fully extended out, which made getting tight and wide shots very simple and easy. Another nice update is the positioning of the roll axis. Some brands have it sitting right behind the LCD screen on the monitor, and if you don't flip that screen out, it does make it hard to see when you're filming. With the Moza here, they've positioned it at a 45-degree angle, which gives you a clear view of the screen. Controls. All the controls are very easily accessible and straightforward to understand. The toggle joystick, wheel dial, and functions buttons are all controlled by your thumb. With the additional cable connections, you can connect the camera to the gimbal interface and control your exposure settings, as well as activate the start-stop video and release the shutter to take stills. The trigger works pretty much the same as with other gimbals. Click and hold to lock on position, double click to center the gimbal, and triple click to activate selfie mode. There's a roller switch that's located on the left of the handle that can be used with the pull focus motor, but since we're shooting with the 5D Mark IV, we just use the camera autofocus and change the setting on the roller switch to control the roll of the gimbal. In addition, the Moza Air 2 comes with two extra modes, Sport Mode and Inception. When Sport Mode is activated, the yaw axis of the gimbal, that's the one that pans the camera from left to right, becomes a lot more responsive to movement, allowing for quick movements with just the twist of the wrist. This is a great feature to create interesting transitions between clips or adding quick movements to your shots. Inception mode, also a really neat feature. Now this technique clearly comes from the movie Inception, where director Christopher Nolan defies gravity in this amazing scene. When activated, it points your camera either straight up or into flashlight mode. Then, by using the toggle joystick, you can rotate the camera in full 360-degree spins. It's a nice touch, and it adds an additional feature that can be used at the push of a button. Finally, there are a few things about the Moza Air 2 that do need some consideration. I did find that there were a few times the gimbal couldn't make the extent of the larger movements I wanted, or maybe I just moved a little too quickly for it, causing it to shutter or get thrown off axis, and then try to recenter itself, which throws off the footage. This could be as a result of moving too fast or too haphazardly, so unless you're trying to achieve a specific erratic effect, I don't think it's a hugely problematic factor. Another thing to consider, while it does come with a number of different cables for different camera brands, there wasn't a cable linked to the Canon 5D Mark IV's USB 3 port. Gibbo actually had to purchase that himself on Amazon. Again, not a huge problem, just something worth mentioning. Pricing. The price of this gimbal puts it in a competing range with the Crane 2 and the Ronin S, but at a slightly more affordable price, so it's a good option. Overall, I'd say this gimbal is a great piece of equipment, especially for its price, and it's definitely a good addition to my setup. It's lightweight, easy, and pretty quick to set up. It responds nicely to the camera, and has about 16 hours of battery life. Definitely having something like this in your kit is a no-brainer. So those are some of my thoughts on the Moza Air 2. By the way, I wanted to give a big shout out to Gibbo here, who's behind the camera, who helped make this whole thing possible. And if you're not already following us on social, I'm leaving links down in the description so you can do that. And finally, if you want to see a video that's a little bit more of a general video about why you would use a gimbal, then check out this video that Jonas did. All right, we'll see you next Tuesday.